Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Kat, and if you're new here, we've been baking our way through Some of My Best Friends Are Cookies by Emelia Jackson. I am having surgery soon, so I am queuing up a couple of videos for you guys so that you're not without a video while I'm in recovery. And so today's recipe is matcha raspberry white chocolate biscuits. I don't think I like matcha. But it does actually say in the recipe that Emelia does not like matcha and she likes these. So we're going to give them a go. The first thing that we need is 250 grams of plain flour. And it does say that we need to sift this together with the matcha and the other ingredients. So let's get started on that. I will point out this bag of matcha was something like $9. The other one that they had was $15, and I need 2 teaspoons. So if I don't like them, these are going to be very expensive biscuits. But I'm sure I'll be able to find somebody who will take them off my hands. So to our 250 grams of flour and 2 teaspoons of matcha, we need half a teaspoon of bicarb, and half a teaspoon of baking powder. And I am supposed to add half a teaspoon of salt to this as well. But at the moment I've got sea salt flakes and they would not go through my sieve. So I am just going to add those after I've sifted all of these together. And here's my half teaspoon of salt. So it's gone a kind of greeny colour. Next up in our mixer, we need 160 grams of butter. (130 grams of brown sugar, 100 grams of caster sugar, 1 egg, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. We're going to mix this until it's just combined, and then we're going to add our flour mixture and mix that in. So I've just mixed this until it's just starting to come together. And now we need to add 125 grams of fresh raspberries. I have already washed these. And I let them dry before I put them into the mixture because I didn't want to add any extra water. And we also need 200 grams of white chocolate chips. And we're just going to mix this to combine. We're not going to over mix it because we don't want to destroy our raspberries. It actually looks quite pretty. It might be a good Christmas cookie with the red and the green. And now that the raspberries are in it, it smells like raspberries instead of like matcha. So that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. These cast iron trays are already really warm from being in the sun. So my oven is preheated to 180 degrees. I am supposed to get 18 biscuits, and I've got, what have I got? 2 trays of 12 and 5, so 29. And these are supposed to bake for 14 minutes. So I'm going to keep a pretty close eye on them after 10, just because mine are a little bit smaller. And what I'm supposed to look for is caramelized edges. So I will put those in the oven and I'll show you what they look like coming out. It says we need 10 grams of freeze-dried raspberries for garnishing the biscuits when they come out. These are the freeze-dried raspberries that I have left over from an earlier cookie. These weigh 13 grams, so I'm just going to use them all. So it says to sprinkle the cookies with a fine layer of matcha powder. I've got an extra half teaspoon of matcha powder in this tea strainer. So we'll just do that. And then we need to top them with an extra 50 grams of white chocolate and 10 grams of the freeze-dried raspberries. I do have my 5 still in the oven, but I will do the same to them when they come out. I often find that putting the chocolate chips on after they come out of the oven means that they don't stick. So we'll try and hope that the residual warmth is enough. And I'm placing them because invariably when I just scatter them on, they end up all over the trays and they melt on the trays and not stick to the biscuit at all. So we'll give this a go. And if they all fall off, I've tried my best. I've got a few raspberries left over. They're not really sticking. So I think they're mostly just going to fall off, to be honest. But we'll see. I might just pop these back into the oven for 30 seconds or so, just to try and get that chocolate to melt a little better. Or I could just leave them in the sun. So our cookies have cooled completely on the trays. I have put an apron on because I managed to spill matcha powder all down the front of my dress when I was cleaning up. You can see they are lightly caramelized on the edges, nicely golden brown on the bottom. The chocolate chips are not sticking. Even though I did end up putting them back in the in the oven. Sorry, Goosey, you're in my way. Come on, good boy. I did end up putting them back in the oven for about a minute to try and melt them down. Um, but that obviously didn't work completely. But let's give them a try. They're crunchy on the outside, soft in the middle. You can mostly taste the white chocolate. The little pops from the freeze dried raspberries are really nice. I don't hate them. I don't know that you get a very strong matcha flavor from them. When I was making the dough, the first putting in of the flour mixture, it really strongly smelled of matcha. But then as soon as the raspberries went in, all I could smell was raspberries. And I think that carries through into the biscuit. The the white chocolate is quite sweet, as white chocolate always is, but I think it's quite a nice contrast with the sharp raspberry from the freeze dried raspberry rather than the raspberry that's in the biscuit. But they are quite nice. Thank you for being here with me today as we made these raspberry white chocolate matcha cookies. If you would like, I will pop another video here that you can enjoy between now and my next upload. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you next time. Bye for now.